Hello, my name is Theo Yang. I'm a professional MMA fighter. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, also a gym owner, Jungle Athletics in Asheboro, North Carolina. ว่าឡើងសាក់គឺធ្វើរយយ៉ាង professional boxer and gym owner in Asheboro, North Carolina. At first, when we first got to Greensboro, it was hard transitioning, because we're not used to all the technology and the way of life here in America. And yeah, but we moved into Glen Haven Apartments. It was like a community for a bunch of refugees, and there was like Montagnard refugees, there was some Vietnamese, there's African refugees. There was a lot of groups that we get that would they had their own different groups, like different tribes and stuff, and had like, yeah, I got bullied too because yeah, especially the guys were like way bigger and they would like to yeah, pick on us, and then even I get beat up from my brothers too. So uh, yeah, yeah. When I got into sports, that helped me out a lot. Hanging the same like-minded people and kind of led me the right path, because my brothers, they kind of went the wrong path and they wanted join gangs and stuff, but I wanted to I had bigger dreams and goals for my life, and I wanted to become somebody. I got into wrestling. My friend kind of dragged me into it. And he was like, Theo, let's go wrestle, man. It's gonna be fun. It's just like WWE, and it's like, but and then I was like, oh, I was hesitant. I didn't want to because like you have to wear tights and stuff, and it's like, man, it looks weird. But I finally checked it out, tried it out, and I wanted to practice and just wrestle a little bit. And I was actually naturally talented. I was like, I picked up really quick, really fast, and it's like came naturally to me. I was like, oh wait, maybe I'm actually kind of good at this. And my wrestling coach, he was one of my mentors and role models to me. He all happened to be a professional fighter too, and that got me intrigued with that. And I went the school that I went to was like Page High School in Greensboro, North Carolina, and yeah, and then I did pretty well wrestling, and then I got recruited to wrestle in college, and at UNC Pembroke, North Carolina, and then from there, it was kind of hard for me trying to be a collegiate athlete too, and with school and stuff, it just felt like a full-time job. And then I ended up I transferred to UNCG Greensboro. And then I went there for just a semester after, and then I dropped out of college, and my parents kept lecturing me and gotten on me about it, and yeah, they tried to convince me to go back to school, but I told them I was gonna take a little break. I want to pursue my dream of becoming an MMA fighter, and also do entrepreneur, and I want to do business. I told them that, and yeah, finally they weren't happy with my decision. My friend, when I dropped out of college, my friend convinced me to work with his aunt at the nail salon. So I was doing nails in Danville, Virginia. I was living in Greensboro. I would drive all the way from Danville. They call me Mike over there because they gave me a nickname because I said, I told them my name is Theo, and then it was like, you sound like Theo sounds like somebody's name is like sneezing. I was like, huh? Like who sneezes like that? A Theo is like, I was like, what? You look like a Mike, so we call you Mike. And yeah, so it was a funny story, and that's I became as Mike working doing nails, but I didn't get into MMA when probably like after 2 years while doing nails, because me and my boss, we were watching one of the fights. It was like, I believe it was like the Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather fight, and I told him, "Yo, Danny, I wanna fight. I wanna do that right there." He gave me the number for the promoter, and then I gave him a call, and then it's like um, he told me they only had one more spots available for a guy who was like at 180, and I at the time I was like 158, so it was like two weight classes above me, and I had no training experiences. I had nobody trained me ever, and then I had 2 weeks to prepare for this fight against this guy who's like weighing 180, and I'm like 150, right? So like while I was working at nails, like all day from 9 to like 8 or 9, because like we had work at mall hours, so we work at the mall, and then after I get off doing nails, I would go to the gym. Um, it was like this lifting gym. They had not really any MMA martial arts. They had one bag, and so I was training myself like with this bag. I was watching YouTube videos training for this fight, and this guy had been my opponent. Supposedly he had like 6 7 years of training experiences, and he's like high level like Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Yeah, and then I call my wrestling coach, right? Like literally like the last minute. I was like, hey coach, you wanna corner me in my fights? I have a fight this weekend. And he's like, oh what? Like you crazy? Like you've been training? I was like, yeah, I've been training. I trained who been training you? Yeah, I'm training myself. I was like, man, you crazy. It was like, all right. I was like, then he agreed to it. He came to corner me. Like that weekend. I went. It was like my first ever fight, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I went to when I walked out, they called my name and went to the cage. I was like a deer in headlights. It was just like I just saw the bright lights, and there's like hundreds of people watching all over, and I was like nervous, and then I was also like like motivated, hyped up, and just like there's so much emotion in this in fighting. I was like, man, I was like, and then all right, let me try to like the first fight, because this guy was huge when first he walked in the cage. This guy was like 6 feet tall, 6'2", 6'3", and it was huge. And then I was like, all right, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like swing wild, like for the fences. I clipped him too, but I went all out, like I went all gas, like everything. I gave him everything. I had him hurt the first round, and then he was experienced, and so he kind of like weathered a storm, and then he took me down, and like he was just grounding and pounding. So and then the round ended, and then after the round ended, I was so gassed and tired. I was like, oh man, it's like I gave everything. So I was like, oh, like I didn't know you're not supposed to try to fight, like use all your energy and everything. The first fight, the second round, basically he choked me out, like because basically I just like laid it out like here in my head, like here I tap out, just I like in mentally I kind of like gave up like that fight. And then he choked me out the second round, and after that fight, I had black eye, bruises, knots, bumps everywhere, and man, drove home. My coaches, I was so sad. I was like, I went home. I was like, man, my dream's over. I was like, no, my dream's over. Um, but luckily, and then the crazy thing was I went to work like 2 days after, and then my my boss, his wife told me, he's like, Mike, I don't want you to work. You're gonna I don't want you to work because you're gonna scare all of the customers. I had like all the bruises and knots in there. It's like you can scare. And she told me take 2 weeks off here. Like you need 2 weeks. Like I was like, okay, yeah, I need to take some. I'll take some time off. But then while that I was like taking a little break, um, that's when I really like had to sit down with myself and just like, do I really want to do this? and then and then I told myself, no, champions don't quit. You know, you just like you have to get knocked down, you bounce back. Yeah, after that, I took it like a whole nother level, yeah, just dedicated everything, like became obsessed, you know, with this sport, and you know, so I went after that. I went on like a 7 fight win streak after that first loss ever, and then I became number one ranked in North Carolina with 3 different titles, and then I transitioned to pro. Like, so different between amateur and pro is like amateurs you don't get paid, but then when you go professionally you get paid and you get sponsors, all that stuff. But that's your record counts, and it's just like that's basically your resume. It's like your record is your value as a fighter, you know. And so when I transitioned to pro, I quit doing nails, and you know I did all in MMA. Um, and then I had, while everybody was going through I made my debut during, it was like right before COVID. Yeah, that year right before COVID. Luckily, I had a good manager. He helped me um, get like stay active in that while everybody was like, you know, inactive for most part. And then I had that crazy run. I had a 5 fight win streak in the UFC. I'm not UFC, my MMA career. And then I got called from the UFC to fight on the UFC Contender Series. It was basically this fight where you fight for the UFC in Las Vegas, and the winners get the contract. You know, I guess they really liked my story back then, and then they matched me up with another Vietnamese fighter. You know, so it was like they try to it's like put the Montier versus the Vietnamese. So that fight, I went to camp, train in San Jose, California, with AKA American Kickboxing Academy, and there was like with Khabib, Nurmagomedov, and Islam, and a couple of the guys. They had a lot of world champions over there, so I wanted to train with them, and got prepared to fight for the Las Vegas fight. So leading up to the fight, I had a lot of stuff that kind of like, not say like make excuses, but like kind of get in the way, you know. I had like outside stuff, and then the UFC told me they were having no fan spectators, right, for this event because of COVID, right. And then during the fight week, they decided to allow fan spectators. The staff never told me or informed me that they were allowing fan spectators, and so, and then I had a lot of my people flew out to Vegas, but because I told them, you know, they wanted to come. I told them, yeah, they're not doing fans because of COVID, and so there's like, oh, it's okay, we can just come and celebrate you after the fight and stuff. And then when I did fight, and then when I walked to the cage, and there actually was a crowd out there, and then my people were sitting in the hotel, and so I was never informed that they could allow to get in there. So that kind of like played in my head too. I was like, what? Like, why is there like fans, spectators? And then that fight, when he walked out, he had a whole section of people. His whole family was there. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and then that I was not really present. I was just like worrying about my family and the rest of my people, and also yeah. And then that fight, it was a close fight. It just, a lot of people told me that didn't really look like me how I usually fight, because usually I don't like hesitate, or like I'm usually just flowing and just picking my shots and put my combos together. But that fight, I kind of didn't put my combos together. You know, people was like, oh, they don't look like you, Theo. I was like, yeah. I didn't really wake up to like the third round of that fight. third round, that's when I woke up. I was like, oh man, I gotta I gotta take this guy's head off, like, cause I gotta get a knockout, because it was like do or die. And then I had him hurt like the third round, um, but it was kind of too late. The bell ran out of time, and then even though he won, he didn't get the contract either because the UFC, Dana White, the president, didn't give him the contract, but he gave all the other winners contract. It was weird, I guess, because he was showing that we were kind of showing each other too much respect, and then I guess we were like, the UFC, they want you have to be putting on exciting fights, and then we kind of gave each other respect because we're too much, and then when you're in there, you gotta like have the mindset, have that killer instinct, and so I had my amateur career. I fought 4 years at my amateur career, and then transitioned to pro probably like 5 6 years. Like a lot of people, I told my friends, like tell them about what Montignard is. A lot of them don't know, and just even like kids growing up, a lot of them don't really, a lot of them identify as Montignard as much because they were like feel like ashamed or like a lot of them try to be Americanized, and some even say like, oh, I'm Vietnamese and stuff, or like yeah, they weren't like really proud of where they came from. Some of them, uh, so for me, it's like at first I just try, I fit in with the rest of the people, but the most like I was more like I felt more like belong with my people, I guess. Um, and then so the reason why I fight, or like, I want to put our people on the map and pave the way for the younger generation and be a role model for them, because there's not really I would say um, a celebrity or like a star here in America, and people putting our people on the map, and are telling about our culture like that. Um, there's actually one in Vietnam, Hen Ni. She's well known she did in Miss Universe, and she's Montignard, and she made it pretty far in like Miss Universe, like top five. And yeah, so I kind of like aspire from her too, like what she's doing over there, and giving back to the community, and helping uh, putting our people like like on the map. The reason why I want to like be successful and make it is so I can pave the way, and also like show them that you can do anything you set your mind to, and opening up a gym, trying a jungle athletics here in Ashboro, trying to coach the rest of the guys here, and not just the Montreal community, but all the kids and fighters that want to become, successful in this sport. And also, we're given the opportunity to like we have our fight promotion too, and we had last one we had at least four or five Montignard that fall on that card too. It's because a lot of them want to fight, and so it's for me is I want to give back to them. There's not actually in the UFC. There's no current fighter that's from Vietnam in the UFC, and there's never been Asian male champion born in the UFC, big promotion. So my goal is to become the first Asian male born champion. There's actually been a woman, Zhang Weili, from China, but there's never been a male champion in the UFC. So that's my goal, and then just kind of paint like you can be. Most people look down on Asian men in general, so which you know. My mom, she really doesn't like me fighting. She's not a fan of it. She's probably told me to quit at least 100 times. And yeah, my dad, he just like, he's ups and down about it. At first, he didn't support me, but once I started winning and doing well, you know, had a lot of success in it, and he was supporting me. But then it's like when I do get hurt, he kind of say, "Oh, like yeah, be careful, like your future and stuff." And so he's yeah, but well, like for me, I want the reason why I fight is just as mainly for them, so I can give them a better life and because they've sacrificed a lot and gave me so much, and so I want to give back and repay them, give them the world, and yeah. After fighting, my goal is to become like a serial entrepreneur and have different investment business. Even might get into acting too, or like some movies, do like stunt double stuff like that. Um, just and then my goal is to have like a big farm, get big land. Just for me, I like the simple life too, and just have a bunch of animals and just out in the country. Kind of remind me back living in Vietnam, in the Central Highlands and up in the mountains and jungles. So I wanna, you know, just live off of that and just have a peaceful life.